They are Mr. C and Uncle Jim, and they are leading a teaching revolution that will make you wish you could take high school physics all over again.
That looks like very choppy water.
You see how the wave kind of gets very narrow?
Hang on, Stace. Here we go.
Now, if you were into reading flames, you could tell what frequency we have here.
Keep pushing at 50. Good, good, good.
All right, I'm following the wave.
Heads up.
If you change that velocity,
If you hold this in the direction of the acceleration,
another type of roller coaster is where...
up is down or down is up.
One more time, okay?
Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. If the amusement park hadn't existed before our trip, physics teachers would have invented it. It's the perfect setting for these experiments, yes.
There's a whole world out there that can be tapped, and I think one of the advantages of an amusement park or stepping outside the classroom is that we show a lot of practical applications of what they're learning. I think that's important. I think it's important that a student sees many things on the way home from school that they saw in the classroom.
Thing just keeps on going, sort of like the Energizer.
Generate a wave, a mechanical wave. What are you doing?
To get a better look at how Jim and Chris do it, we decided to see how they explain and demonstrate a few principles, the kind found in any high school physics book. For example, Newton's first law of motion. An object in motion will remain in motion, and an object at rest will remain at rest unless an external force is applied.
Let's go to this end, and then we can shoot her down this way. And
What's he got now?
we must have a chair. We must have our chair.
A piece of plywood and a vacuum cleaner. Well, it could only be one thing, a hovercraft.
Okay, who's our first passenger? Stacy? Seatbelt. Now, we pay great attention to safety around here, so we're going to put a seatbelt around our passenger.
The hovercraft shows what happens to a moving body when you greatly reduce that well-known outside force, friction.
Let's see if we can get her move a little faster. Okay, here goes. Hang on, Stace. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Somebody stop her.
She's not going to stop until acted upon by another force, proving to these kids if an object is in motion with no unbalanced forces, the object will continue in a straight line with constant speed, sort of like a car skidding on ice or a spacecraft coasting to the planets. It also shows why you need seat belts. You'll keep right on going until another force stops you. Better an airbag than a windshield.
If we can eliminate or greatly reduce friction, then an object in motion will continue to move in motion, or stay in motion, until another force stops it. Have we got it? Have we got equilibrium? Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it?
Chris will go to Toys R Us on a Sunday afternoon, and he'll call me up immediately. You can't believe what I saw at Toys R Us. That's one of the best physics factories available. So he'll buy it. He'll bring it in, and we'll explore with it. And if we can use it, we'll do it. And if it doesn't work, we'll do something else.
Move on. We're not afraid of failure.
The Barrington High swimming pool. It's 6 a.m.
All right, one thing about the universe that we live in, there's always interactions that take place between us and our environment. And if we need a force to move to another location, we have to give a force.
The principle here involves Newton's third law of motion, which says that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. We see the principle at work when we hit an object, the force going right through the center. But will they get it?
That are present. When we interact with our environment and we exert forces on our environment, there's generally two types of motion that can take place. There can be what we call pure translation. By that I mean the mat just recoils and every point on the mat goes through the same displacement, linear displacement. Or we can have pure rotation, where the mat just spins. Let's see what happens when we exert forces on our environment. And these are called action-reaction forces. What I'd like to do is have, in the first case, is have a person jump up at the edge of the mat, and let's walk across the mat right through the CM. All right, let's have 4 people jump into the water.
Jim has the students walk through the center of the mat because it's easier to see the reaction when a force is applied to it.
Bob, walk right through the CM.
The mat moves away and the student moves forward.
Great, there we go. So the force you feel is not the force that you give to the mat. The force you feel is the environment on you. You always feel the effect of the environment on you. That's the force that propels you.
But what happens when the force is off-center? Like opening a door or using a wrench. You get a force that produces a rotation.
Okay, go. Beautiful. Do you see we get translation and rotation? Great. Beautiful. All right.
Well, using a swimming pool is obviously effective, but New Trier High School's parking lot? It's the scene of Newton's second law, the basic of all mechanics. The acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the force acting upon it.
The second law really tells us what happens when there is a net force. Newton's second law of motion simply says that the acceleration is proportional to the net force. Stated in English, the harder you push, the more the acceleration. Okay? What else probably enters in to the acceleration? If I apply a certain net force to something, what other factor will determine the acceleration? Okay, the mass and friction. Boom, boom. Okay? The mass of the object and the frictional forces. Right on the money. For right now, we can state Newton's second law as the acceleration equals the net force divided by the mass of the object. Our goal today is to turn this equation upside down, measure the net force, measure the acceleration, and determine the mass of the vehicle. But instead of putting it on a scale, we're going to use one of Newton's laws to give us the math, and it's very simple.
Well, that's easy for Mr. C to say.
Get him up to 50. Get him up to 50 and hold him there. We have one student in the front seat with the cones, one student in the back seat with a clock, and we've got 3 people pushing on the car with bathroom scales. Every 2 seconds, the cone is dropped. So there's a net force and it accelerates, and what happens is the cones get further and further apart. Keep pushing at 50! Keep pushing at 50!
The students provide the force measured by the bathroom scales. They determine the acceleration by measuring the increasing distance between cones to find the mass of the vehicle. That is Newton's second law. The challenge is to teach it so students will understand it and remember it.
Friction is pushing back 20. So
He's a fun teacher. He's a great teacher. He keeps everyone really involved. Everyone's enthusiastic about it. And I'm doing really well because I understand everything that's going on from the way he teaches it.
I think these settings, these out-of-the-classroom settings, also give them a better understanding of the basic principles initially when they encounter them. And we hope that it enables them not only to understand at that moment, but to apply them throughout their lives and perhaps retain the understanding after they leave us.
We've seen Mr. C and Uncle Jim as new explorers, probing the mysterious minds of high school physics students. Well, the amusement park is their Emerald City. Six Flags, Great America, the best place ever to teach the secret of what makes the world go round. The kids may not realize it in all the fun, but they're on the verge of a great discovery. They'll be given an opportunity to learn the secret of what runs the world, because the amusement park is a monument to physics. As Jim Hicks says, if we understand the forces at work here, we can understand what made the industrial age possible. The secret? The transformation of potential energy, PE, into kinetic energy, KE.
There are generally 2 types of roller coasters. There's the type where you do mechanical work and you store it all in PE. And an example of that would be the Eagle, the Demon, the Shockwave. Another type of roller coaster is where we do mechanical work and we get all KE out.
Their method of using the amusement park as a giant physics classroom is so successful, they'll pass it on to other teachers today.
Here, work must be done initially to give the ball bearing potential energy, okay? Once that work has been done, we can tap it just like we did with this roller coaster. And you'll notice, believe it or not, that's intentional. We modified this track. There's a lot of physics, a lot of science in why that ball jumped the track, folks. But this device, indeed, is like the shock wave, like the demon, in that the energy is transformed from potential into kinetic, back into some potential, and then finally brought to rest here at the end.
Now,
Jim and Chris started team teaching physics at Barrington High School outside Chicago almost 20 years ago. This year, Chris moved to a nearby high school, New Trier.
Jim and I really believe in amusement park physics. We started in 1975, and we started with about 180 of our students. And since then, it's grown to about 13,000 this past year at Great America.
Washer, right.
Today, Great America hosts an annual Physics Day for all the teachers and their students, and the word is quickly spreading that physics can actually be fun. The teachers are off to measure the acceleration of the rides.
Bring it up to the edge. There you go, right there. There you go.
Here we go, winter ride.
Some of these teachers are taking their first ride ever on the tidal wave, still wondering whether this is the way to teach physics.
Now, I'm sure when you had high school
No
physics,
behavior problems.
you had formulas, and how much do you remember? They get out here and they do it.
They're going to apply it.
remember it.
Now it's the students' turn. The amusement park classroom always begins with a stop in the park's picnic grove, where Jim and Chris put on a sideshow of their own.
Off on a tangent, again. Find the roller coaster.
Well, you know, one of the things about Einstein's theory of special relativity is that it's impossible to detect your absolute motion through space if you're moving along with a constant velocity. But
One of the first things today's field trip drives home is the difference between velocity and acceleration.
Yes, indeed. Well, how can you have an acceleration when there's no change in speed?
Velocity is speed and direction. Acceleration is the rate at which your velocity is changing over time. The Indy 500 is a test of speed. A drag race is a test of acceleration.
If you start out at zero.
Okay, there's a weight hanging from a string, okay? Now, if we move with a constant velocity, what will the weight do? It'll stay the same. As Hicks said, it's impossible to tell if you're moving with a constant velocity. If you're in a car that's at rest, it hangs. If you're moving with a constant velocity, hang straight down. Jim?
Yeah, so as Mr. C mentioned, if we accelerate in this direction, the weight will respond in the opposite direction.
Today, the kids will get a chance to measure acceleration, their own. And in the process, they'll learn the difference between PE, potential or stored energy, and KE, kinetic energy, or energy of motion.
What roller coaster does this remind you of where we do work, but it goes into all KE at the beginning? The tidal wave, okay. Let's take a look at this. Now, what if the track is missing at the top? Will we have a chance to still make the turn? Well, in order to make the turn, you need a force towards the center. I don't see a track up there. There's no force up there to keep us. Any ideas?
So what you're saying is, if we open up the track, we still have a chance of making it from this section to this because gravity is going to supply the needed centripetal force.
Can you imagine the ultimate ride?
The ultimate ride.
Ultimate ride. The track is missing. Will we make it? Yes, we will.
Are you ready?
Yes, Mr. C. Now, just the right speed. Let gravity do the work. Okay?
Yes! Did you see that? Hold it.
Okay.
Hold it. Let's widen the gap, shall we?
No. Should we go to limits here?
Let's go to the limits.
How wide?
How wide? One car? Let's go for a car.
See, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be tough.
Yes!
All right. One more.
Oh, I see. So everybody has to make one?
Before the class takes off for the rides, they quickly assemble their homemade accelerometers. The straw will help them sight into the top of the ride, so the string and washer can show the angle on the protractor to determine acceleration.
In order to measure the potential energy at a particular location, first you have to define where the zero potential is, and then we have to measure everything with respect to that zero potential energy line.
The kids also learn some things about G-forces, which is a way to express the acceleration we feel due to the Earth's gravitational pull. You and I are feeling one G-force on us right now.
Feel like you're being it's getting greater and greater.
Riders on the Cajun Cliffhanger feel about 2.7 Gs, which is about what it would feel like to go for a stroll on Jupiter.
Oh, there's a shockwave now.
Okay, Matt, from there.
Okay, so we'll have an accelerometer now. What will happen up there?
Oh, well, when we go down and stuff, it'll show it about, I don't know, however fast you're going, so it went like that. It would use that angle and take the tangent of it, and through that we can find out how fast we're going, like the force vector that we've used.
What if you throw up before that?
Well, I think that Jim and I are just kids at heart.
We enjoy having a good time right along with our students, and I think we really like physics.
I love the eagle.
Let's do the eagle.
Let's go, the eagle.
That's my favorite.
What's the secret to their success? Well, I see motion sickness in that incline, but to Mr. C and Uncle Jim, it's the Super Bowl of physics, the Final Four. Watch and listen. They were teaching all the way.
But we'll be able to actually see that sort of levitate.
Exactly. The string should go limp as we go over the humps. I was just thinking, when we go around the spiral, Jim, we can get the centripetal accelerations that spiral through there. This should lean out at the end. Oh, boy, here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, Alicia. All right. I really do love this ride. That's what you can't do in the classroom, of course. That kind of stuff. No, really, you talk about it, but boy. That's great.
We achieved weightlessness.
Weightlessness. That was fabulous. That was just the best, wasn't it?
They've known the thrill of discovery. That's why Mr. C and Uncle Jim are new explorers.
They're the most incredible physics teachers. You get so excited. They get excited about it. It's great. Little kids on caffeine.
Good. That was good.
It's not just straight out. This is what you have in physics.
Jason was headed southwest, and when we hit,
They bring life to it. It's more colorful.
I used to not be interested in science before this year, before I took physics. And now I go home and tell my mom about the things we did.
He approaches each subject as if he were approaching it for the first time.
I've always had problems with science or whatever, and I'm doing great in this class.
I don't really like school all that much anyway. And so Mr. C makes me want to come and want to learn.
You know how to play the game, don't they?
I like his high energy level.
Yes!
We hardly ever use the book because it's like a human book.
You're falling faster and faster.
you get potential, and then it goes back to kinetic.
And then if we could indeed remove all the friction,
The particles of the medium.
Any teacher can go to college and get their degree and come in and teach and do all kinds of chalk talk. But Mr. Hicks comes in and he makes the class fun.
Excellent, excellent.
Mr. C makes it so exciting that now here I am, I love science.
he does it after the acceleration run.
And what he does is he basically loves every one of us. And that's the biggest thing about this class. That's really great. I mean, yeah, it's really true. We're a family, and he teaches it with love.